All right, so did you guys know, or well, you probably heard already, that Oregon just became the first state to decriminalize drugs?
The hard ones.
That's pretty
Heroin, cocaine, meth.
Wait, all of them?
The hard ones.
I thought it was just mushrooms.
I don't know about that one.
No, all
it's
the hard
everything.
ones.
No,
Okay.
mushrooms was I forgot some other state, but then Oregon was that it decriminalizes it where you just get a fine if you're caught with it, right?
Yeah, small amounts are a fine. There's also addiction services instead of like, instead of going to jail or serving any time, you have to go to like addiction services or treatments and stuff like that.
There was another state though that just legalized mushrooms. Well, not legalized mushrooms, but like
Decriminalize.
Dosing and things like that. No, I mean we've seen in other places that once you tell somebody no, they can't do it, it just becomes so much worse than what it is.
Yeah.
And when you can control it and treat it like a disease, you have better outcomes as far as like violence and everything.
The Prohibition era, like where they try to be like, you can't drink anymore. Everyone's like, the fuck?
Yeah.
I wish we could figure out a way where it's effective because I thought in theory this would be amazing because, people aren't going to go to jail for this stuff anymore. But then what I realized is now we have a lot of drugged out people on the streets. And then, I mean, if they're on weed or whatever, that's different. But if they're on like meth, crack, all the dangerous stuff, they're going to, when they're fucked up, they act crazy.
Well,
But the fact that it's
only-
illegal doesn't make them not do it. That's the thing.
And it's
Right.
also
No, but then at least the cops can catch them and put them away and let them sober up in the station or whatever.
it's
Whereas
also-
if they can't do that right
It's
now.
only decriminalized if it's under a gram. So if you are an addict and you have a lot, then you're still it's still a crime.
Like alcohol.
I think there's a few things with that, like kind of like how alcohol isn't illegal, but public intoxication is illegal. Right?
Driving while drunk is
If you're
illegal.
on meth, I mean, they might not like throw you in jail for 10 years, but they might put you away for the night because you're causing like a problem.
Well, because we know that the prison system mainly is privately ran and they have certain quotas, and we've seen that
We're the biggest
nonviolent-
penal colony in the fucking world.
nonviolent crimes are, they're just throwing people in. So
I'm just thinking about the people that get robbed and all that stuff when you need more drugs. And then so like if you're a meth head and you run out of money, what happens? It's like you don't go to jail until you commit the crime. Not all meth heads and crackheads are violent. I'm just saying that when it does happen, it's harder to keep them off the street.
Usually going to jail doesn't fix that addiction.
No, it doesn't. But my whole point is it's
Preventative.
there's one conversation to be had about helping the drug users, right? But I'm talking about preventing crime when you're strung out. Like when you're fiending for drugs, how do we prevent that? Because that's the
Or how you protect that person that's innocent in the house from having to get burglarized.
But it's just like using alcohol as a comparison, just because and we don't do it very well. Side note, like we still don't do that very well with regulating alcohol because DUIs is one of the biggest causes of death in America. So clearly we've regulated one substance and we're not even doing it the best, but I think that's the only thing we have to compare it to. And I think that's like the gauging point.
Getting to the root of it, manufacturing and selling drugs, still illegal. Still completely illegal. So where are you going to get the drugs? Well, they're going to go to the person selling it to you. That person's getting locked up, but you are going to a rehab.
Yeah, and that's the important part is that they also incorporate more rehab. So if you get caught with it and you're like fiending for more, rather than just like releasing you back into the wild, they're like, all right, let's send you to a place where experts and professionals can help you.
What's really upsetting is that a lot of people that have DUIs have multiple DUIs. They have multiple, and most of them commit the second act, not even having
people do they
license.
have to kill, like running them over
Right.
or whatever? Like
So when we use that as an example, I think that we still have a lot of things to fix with that, and that drugs and alcohol are pretty much going to have to. It's really about just
And
fixing
it's
the core.
been tested in countries in Europe, like including Portugal and the Netherlands and Switzerland. They've all decriminalized hard drugs without any rampant negative effects. So
France has done this too, where they have
Tested.
rooms where you can just check into, and like if you're a heroin addict, for example, like you can just do it there, and it's like a safe place for you to just do it.
because a lot of people OD. I mean, we know.
I just
you
want to
imagine-
be able to smoke weed in public. Like what is
in
that's
public?
fine.
I
Yeah.
don't know about that.
Like if I want to go to the fucking park and smoke, like and there's no people around me, like I don't want to go to jail for that.
You can't drink in public.
Yeah.
You could brown bag it.
But
I'm
you
just
can't.
kidding.
But you can't smoke. But you can't smoke cigarettes in a lot
Yeah,
of
that's a
places.
new law. Yeah.
I do support drinking in public though.
Me too. Fuck these
It's
people.
so much more fun.
Leave us
Go to
alone.
Vegas.
Around Vegas,
Yeah.
so fun. Walking around Asia, you just walk into a store, grab a beer, keep walking around.
Yeah, it's because people here can't control
the
their shit?
attitude is the problem. That's why we talked about like the DUI thing. It's because like American attitudes towards these things that you can't have until you're 21, and now it's like this like magical thing that's like I'm not allowed to have.
have
So
to
when you
abuse
finally
it.
have it, you're abusing it. You look at like French kids who are like drinking wine at like 14.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a problem.
And then they're drinking wine when they're 41. And that's no problem.
Is there a super right way or a super wrong way? I feel like everywhere is still trying to figure it out, but you know what the angle is. Like, how are they going to make money off of this? And it's so sad because we know that the DUI, we show that. The drugs, someone's going to have to fund rehab. Somebody's sitting in the back and going, well, okay, so instead of putting them here, we're going to put them here. How are we going to fund this?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I disagree. I think we can win the war on drugs if you just give us a couple more years. And like a couple $billion more.
We raise taxes a little bit more.
Yeah. Just a few more years, guys. We almost got
The
this.
problem is that we're like a couple private prisons short, and that'll fix it.
We need to build a couple more. That's it. We got this thing on the ropes, man.
You know, there's some of our friends that have definitely had the cool family or the cool uncle or the cool whatever, and they had alcohol before, and they've kind of just like always chilled out. And then you have the people that were so caged in and couldn't do nothing, and then got to 21, wilded out, and they've never looked back.
It's like you think of those Catholic students or Catholic schoolgirls who are like they have to be so repressed, and when they finally get out, it's like my girlfriend, she used to go to a Catholic school before going to a public school. She said the craziest people and the craziest parties she's ever attended
She's talking about
were
herself.
all the Catholic kids.
No, repressed
I
kids.
learned all my bad stuff at Christian school.
Really?
Got into smoking weed, all that stuff.
So yeah, that's what's so funny about all this shit too is that we always talk about repression and like, oh my god, like it's so bad to teach your kids about like what's going on with their bodies for sex and shit. But the more that you play keep away, the more you're making them interested.
It's like forbidden. It's like
And
I
they
want to
look-
try.
You mean I have to explain things to my kids?
And the best salespeople are your friends, and they'll be like, I tried E, and this shit's fucking good.
You know what was crazy? My dad, I wish he found a little bit more of a balance, because let me tell you, I went to college and was like, oh, this is nice. I almost went into the Air Force, and my mom told me, I was getting recruited to go into the Air Force, and my mom was like, yo, your dad has had control over your life. Somebody else is gonna have control over your life. Do you want that? And I went, no. So my mom was the one that actually convinced me to go and explore and to do more. She's like, listen, once you're done, you're done. So like, have fun.
Why'd you want to
Yeah.
chair force it?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Do you want to go in the chair force? I have family in the chair force, so I can say that.
My brother was in the Air Force, my dad was, and my grandpa tested high in one of those things, but at the same time they had volleyball, so they were gonna offer scholarships, things
Air
like
Force
that.
volleyball?
Yeah.
Have you seen Top Gun, you fucking ignorant fuck?
I forgot the movie.
But my dad was so strict
I was a
that my
baby.
mom always kept on trying to be like the little bit of light, like, hey, like go and do something because I know it's gonna be really hard for you when you get out. Let me tell you, I thank my mom for that because I wanted to do way worse, but I always had my like, hey, if I'm doing something I'm not supposed to do or I'm somewhere I'm not supposed to be, I can call my mom. She always gave me that little bit of like,
I think we have the same parents.
yeah, like that, just that little bit.
Helps out.
Yeah, it really does because I caught myself in a lot of situations to where my mom was there to help me, and my dad, we had to have a talk when I was older, and he was like, shit.
I think that's one of the reasons why I rebelled so much, because I never felt like I had access to the human being inside.
Yeah.
Like if shit hit the fan, no matter what, I knew it was still gonna be son calling dad or son calling mom, and it was never gonna be like this slight bit of vulnerability. I remember when I was 15 and you're 15, let me talk to you as a human being. So I'm like, then I might as well go to the homie's house or go to the,
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Shit, you know, at some point it was almost like, take me in. I'm not going home. Take me in.
My
I'm
mom
not going
said
home.
that she wanted to go to the ocean and drown me and herself because she couldn't deal with what was going on. And when she told me, I was like, your little ass, I'd fucking leave you there and you can't swim, you dumb bitch.
I wish that you just played a musical instrument like the one that goes.
Where'd it go? That's a perfect. That's a.
Oh,
You said what, Mom?
And she's like, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
But imagine every fucked up situation you've been in and how you got there. If you really thought about, like, if you knew what you knew now.
It was
or you
fun though.
I did. I had a really. Nobody even asked me to prom. Like, I had such a strict dad, and everybody was terrified of him that I didn't even think people liked me. I just had a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And then I got into college, and then developed other issues, and then I became an adult and I understand the relationship now, but I would definitely do things different. So imagine people that get into like drugs and a lot of the other stuff. Could you, I don't know.
One thing I really appreciate about my mom is she never told me not to do things, like not to do drugs. She would be like, okay, you could do this, but just so you know, I did this one time and I had a really bad experience. This is what happened to me. And like, she really freaked me out because she'd be like, go ahead and do it, try it. But like, just, I mean, this is something that could happen and you just have to be okay with that. Yeah, I'm like, I never did any drugs.
My parents were like, you're gonna do drugs and you're gonna like it, but it's gonna ruin you. Just to let you know. My parents were straight up. They were like, you're gonna like it. It's in your DNA. You actually come from people who like doing drugs. No, my parents were like straight up. They were like, yo, listen, you're probably gonna like it, but it's gonna ruin your life. You're never gonna have anything that you actually want. So go ahead, but I'm warning you now and I'm not gonna sugarcoat this or play. You're probably gonna like it. That scared the shit out of me. Knowing that I almost had like no control over something. They're like, no, you're gonna like it. And I was like, oh, fuck that, no.
What's wild is that we live in a country that they fought this war on drugs, right? Illegal drugs, right? But then they made sure that the legal drugs like Oxy and shit were spread to the fucking masses, no problem, making all these
people die from that more than cocaine.
all these pharmaceutical companies stacking billions, not giving a single fuck, especially when they found out what was really going on, and covering it all up. So we can all pretend like, oh yeah, we're trying to do the best thing for our population, but really it's all about the money.
Yeah, follow the money. You'll understand what's actually going on. Talk to your friends and your family. Be real. Be as
Who ran
real.
the drugs? CIA?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thinking about it now, I think the best drug salesmen were my parents, actually.
Yeah?
So I think my mom would be like, don't do drugs because only really badass gangsters do drugs.
And you're like, oh shit.
The tough ones that get all like all the slutty hoes, like, and they walk around, they just demand respect. These are the guys that do drugs.
I was like, how can
my entire checklist. Oh my god.
so good be so wrong?
No, my dad is terrifying. He was like, you're not gonna go. He didn't want me to move to LA. My dad was like, nope, because you're not gonna wanna come home and you're gonna do things that you're gonna regret later.
Sounds fun.
He was like, you're gonna be, my dad straight up scared
He kept
the
you protected.
shit. He scared the shit out of me because he was real. He goes, listen, you're not gonna wanna come home because you're so fucking independent and you're gonna put yourself in really messed up situations. You're gonna do things that you're gonna regret so that you can stay out there. You know what? Go ahead then. I was like, oh my god, no, I'm better than that. So I didn't move.
I would have done it.
No,
I would have done it too.
Sounds too fun.
But the thing is, I'm happy I didn't at that time because he's 1,000% fucking correct. Because if I got into a fucked up situation where I had no money or whatever and where my headset was at the time, I could not go home because I was rebelling, which means I can't go home. But my parents were like, you can always come back. And I was like, cool. So I felt comfortable enough, like calling my mom or, being able to go. Because they were human. And I was like, cool. If I'm going to fail, go home. Don't go somewhere else. And don't dive into other shit.
We know what you can do now. You can call my fucking friend Joe. Because he'll be there. He'll be there.
Joe's coming to pick me up. I am drunk.
And he'll do drugs with you.